And when I heard that, the first thing, a lot of my students said, what about this Wall Street, Occupy Wall Street? I said, don't get occupied with that. Because that's to preoccupy your attention. Okay, so when you overstand anybody, anytime anyone gets that much airplay, know that it is subsidized. Because right after the Occupy commercial comes in, get your new deodorant so that you do not stink when you occupy. Make sure you're minty fresh so that when you're occupying with your friends, you don't offend. Do not get caught up with anything the television tells you, because that is part of the problem, reaction, solution situation. So what we're going to do here today is show you that the problem of 2012 is to make you believe that you have to go through all of these gymnastics in order to understand and understand yourself. You can naturally evolve or transcend. I don't use the word evolve because Darwin comes right in and says, that's my word. But transcend who you are. The problem is the habit of who you are is hard to break. The comfort with your stomach being full. The comfort with your loins being satiated. All of these keep you in the sensual loop. And that's what we're going to be talking about, to see what it is that we can now talk. After I give you an idea of what it is that you have to deal with, we're going to talk after that. This is the first part. So I'm dubbing this, and make sure that anybody who feels they want to bootleg this, please don't change the name. I'm tired of y'all changing the name to my stuff. People keep asking me, did you get the thing from Mars that said that the name was called The Man from Mars and Jupiter's Twin? I said, I didn't make nothing like that. What are you talking about? Bootleggers are changing the name to suit them so it'd be comfortable to say, okay, that's the one. And then they keep doing it, they keep replicating parts of it, because I talk so damn much on one tape, they can cut it up and name it 3 and 4 different names. But I put the names on there for a reason, because they have a purpose. Everything that I say in the word has a purpose. It fixes what it is. You name it, that's what it becomes. So please, if you're going to do your mischief, don't change the words. Okay, so I am calling this a neo-Hegelian analysis. A new Hegelian analysis of 2012. And I'm going to begin by talking about the metaphysics of evil, which would be the problem, theopsychosis and religion, which would be the reaction, and the chromosomal recoding of third density perception, reconfiguring the molecular atomic orientation of consciousness through the mechanics of transcendence on the quest for true death. Solution. So, now that I think I have your attention, we're going to talk about something that pretty much religion has stolen and taken, and we believe that it belongs to them, the word evil. Everybody says evil, and it's, oh my God, Jesus, and the devil. No, I'm going to use it simply as an energy of retrogression. One that just deals with subsuming human potential. Okay? Anything that impedes your growth as a human, as a galactic being, and acquires the knowledge, the galactic knowledge of who you really are at your atomic level, and then seeks to impede that, that's evil. Because they're working for themselves. It's called service to self versus service to others. So we're going to deal with the metaphysics of evil first. Every time everybody sees that word, we got all kinds of different connotations coming up behind it. The first thing you start seeing is, ooh, evil. All of these being, of course, psychosomatic projections of his own mind. And of course, who else but the quintessential icon of evil? I didn't give a damn about him. He ain't evil to me. I don't know the man. But there's enough promotion about him to tell me he's evil. And everybody believes it. They even use his name next to the word evil. But you're conditioned to believe it. Evil, definitely. Do I get an amen on that one?
All three of them. All three of them. All three of them.
Evil!
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
I gotta hit you with it. I gotta hit you with it.
Oh no, that's correct.
I'm sorry. I gotta hit you with it. And you know, the part about it that gets to me though is the how familiarly Obama looks doing it.
Yes.
Boy, it looks like this is what he does.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
And this is what the big secret is that's being kept from everybody about him. And we told you about this how long ago? Long ago. How many saw my Obama tape? All right. Okay, nothing new to the family. All right? Of course, we know evil, they even marketed for you. Marketed to our hip-hop brothers and sisters. What do they give you? Bad meets evil? When you start using these words, iconic, good versus evil, of course, look who good is. Look who good is. But then, what are we really dealing with when we talk about evil? What does evil really look like? I mean, they put evil so that you can laugh at it. When you hear that word and you see this jackass, Dr. Evil, and you laugh at the word. But can you laugh at this? Because that's who you are. And that's what this whole game has been, especially when they co-opted the metaphysical community with the New Age community. Now you are slowly being boiled in your own stew. The stew they made from you and your ancestors who came before you to keep you here in this pot of boiling water and consume you spiritually. But what is true evil? What is true evil? I'm going to show you what evil really looks like when it begins to manifest and will manifest. When evil, or the machinations of evil, the energy dynamic behind evil begins to manifest itself. When they tell you what evil is and you factor it into a political constraint in your brain where you file all of the things that they tell you and you very, very nicely pack it into the corner of your existence so that it just doesn't bother you. Okay? When I show you evil, like this person in the top right picking up what is left of a child after being blown up, the child to the left being made to murder other people, and the ones to the bottom right in the old days when they were cleaning out the Philippines, wiping out all of your people there that you believe never existed there, because of course black people being the first people, they couldn't have been any place else but in Africa, probably in a tree. When we look at evil, we don't see it in the eyes. We say, oh, that's too bad. And we have some Caucasian telling us, send money. Your $25,000 a week or a day or a month can do so much. And you see them shoveling this gruel down the throats of the people that you're supposed to be helping. But the people who cause the problem cannot be the solution of the problem because they are the creators of problems. You are not a solver of problems. Right now, the only problem that you're solving is the fact that you can't transition to the level where everyone else is going, so you have now created an artificial gateway, and we're going to talk about that. And this is the result right here of our ancestors leaving behind a certain group of us to be able to maintain the ma'at on this planet, because this devil would have killed himself off a long time ago. And if it wasn't for your love, I'm telling you, if it wasn't for who you were as an original people, this planet would have been doomed a long time ago. Because this crazy bastard, he'll blow it up before he gives it back. So don't think you're getting any goddamn sovereignty or nothing like that. Come on for that! This man has no scruples. To have sovereignty, you have to have honor, dignity. He is not about the one to bestow that. He has never bestowed dignity upon any people of color. He has taken it. He continues to do so. For you to have sovereignty means you have to have land. Where's your land? You had a chance to have land in 2004, in the year of the indigenous land, when this entire continent went fee simple.
All right.
Now, because you didn't step up and take back the land at The Hague and at the Dragon Court, you see him going buck wild, don't you? Now it's tombstone. It's all out. The world is mine. You had your chance. So yes, we can navigate choppy seas, but unless you can calm the seas, you're still dealing with a storm. So if anybody wants to speak on sovereignty, you have a chance. Part 2. So let's talk about what I call the logic of evil. And here's one of the logics of evil. If God exists, then God is omnipotent, omniscient, and morally perfect. If God is omnipotent, then God has the power to eliminate all evil. If God is omniscient, then God knows when evil exists. If God is morally perfect, then God has the desire to eliminate all evil. Evil exists. If evil exists and God exists, then either God doesn't have the power to eliminate all evil, or doesn't know that evil exists, or doesn't have the desire to eliminate all evil. Therefore, God doesn't exist. I want you to think about that. Because as we go forward, you'll find that existence itself is fundamentally evil. Evil is the active principle of the universe. The good is no more than an illusion, the pursuit of which serves to induce the human race to perpetuate its own existence. A fundamental tenet of Buddhism states that the happiness is unattainable. Happiness is unattainable in the physical flesh. There is no way of escaping from misery, but by ceasing to exist in matter and living in the impersonal state of nirvana. Now, see, you've been given clues. But religion has relegated your minds to thinking of something outside of yourself that is demanding your attention. If I am the omniscient all-creator, and those of you who have heard my works from before, what we teach in our university is, and I know I got somebody on the internet, because I go into Facebook every now and then, to see what's going on. You peek in every now. And he says, Dr. Valentine said that God is dumb. God don't know. He don't know nothing. And of course, he's a Hebrew Israelite. So I said, okay, I now have to go back to kindergarten so that I can talk on a kindergarten level. So when we speak about the fact that God is dumb, I never said that in that sense. I said that to drive home a point. But I say God, being all knowledge, has to be its polar opposite as well, all ignorance. Because the twin is the creator. Creator is one, but by its nature, it's a twin. So if you're talking about omniscience, then you have to talk about all ignorance. When does all ignorance come about? When the omniscient secedes from itself to create. Why don't you know the omniscient? Why don't you have a one-to-one personal understanding and overstanding of the omniscient? Because we ignorant. And what is ignorance? Ignorance is essentially the process of coming to know the Creator. Come into self-knowledge, to self-transcendence, what the Creator needed to know itself. Because as you learn, the Creator gets smarter. Are you not the Creator? Well, of course not. Creator's out there, and you're just a piece of meat, and you just happen to animate. Well, how come this piece of meat can now vibrate to understand and overstand that there is something greater than itself? Why did I have all this intelligence? What do I have of the knowledge of the Creator, that the Creator is there itching me, but I just can't know where to scratch it yet? I know that I am greater than what I am here. I know that I am part of something greater, but you keep telling me that it's Jesus Christ, Yahweh, Allah, all the names that limit it to your understanding. God creates man. God synthesizes as man. Man creates God. The Creator synthesizes itself as man, and then man in his ignorance creates God. So it's time for us to look at this Frankenstein we've created that you have now appointed as your overseer. And ain't you sick of overseers? That's what your priest is. When the last priest, or the last stone of the last temple falls on the last priest, man will be free, along with wounded man. We need to get rid of all of the so-called three-headed dog priests.
Yeah.
They stand in the way of your transcendence because they have you looking for something outside of yourself. And until you take the responsibility to search for that, because that was your job, you came down here to learn. Not just to party, but to learn. To understand and overstand. So we go here. The origin of all suffering is the thirst for being. Evil is inseparable from the finite, but tends to disappear as the finite approached its final union with the infinite. Evil is a mode in which certain aspects in the development of nature are apprehended by human consciousness as detrimental to its self-preservation. There is no distinctive principle to which evil can be assigned. Its origin is of nature as a whole. This philosophy rejects the specific idea of a, quote, creation. The idea of God is either excluded or identified with an impersonal principle or conceived of as a mere abstraction from the methods of nature. Now, there was a man named Cipollone who came out with this information because he's talking about evil as somebody or something in the form of archon, which our ancestors left in the book of the Nag Hammadi library. So, what does it mean? The origin of evil is this, the origin of being. Thus, the original sin. Anybody ever heard of the original sin? Who created the first original sin?
Supposed to be Adam?
Yes, it was supposed to be Adam. But, think about it. God created the first original sin. God created. That's the original sin. The original sin is the creation of ignorance. Ignorance is created for the purpose of the journey towards knowledge and self-enlightenment. Ignorance is created so that you may come into the knowledge of God as God. So ignorance becomes a food source for the parasite, because now he promotes ignorance to maintain you in a lockdown. He doles it out in the form of the food supplies that you're eating that attenuates your DNA. He doles it out in the form of the different types of methodes and cathodes that are hitting you from them screens that locks down your DNA. We're going to get into this very good. So what is evil? Evil is essentially to have lived. So we all evil. Everybody can get up and get into their evil face right now because, yeah, I'm evil. Why? Because I'm alive. And I have done some evil things just being alive. My ignorance keeps me evil. And so now that evil is about living, up pops somebody who takes your knowledge and says, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And this is exactly what your leaders are doing. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. It don't matter if you go kill a couple of 100,000 people, murder a few million children. It's just a body. So now with his works, we now move to the next level. Thus evil now manifests as a parasitic practice of those who have gained advanced knowledge of the transitional nature of human consciousness, recognized our tendency to transcend to newer and ever higher perceptual realities as an inherent ability, and decided to purposefully impede, co-opt, manipulate, and undermine those innate mechanisms that the molecular atomic consciousness of the cell employs to allow for the transcendence of our species from the inertia of obsolete paradigm structures. You are now living an obsolete life. Everything that has you habitually thinking you need to eat, screw, go to school, have a house, germ, the body itself right now is calling you to maintain the superstructures of your ignorance, the superstructures of your lockdown. Now, I'm not saying everybody, let's go outside and camp in the streets. I'm not talking about that. So out there, when you're listening to this, don't take this literally. We are in an advanced class here. Evil scientifically calculates the frequency threshold capabilities of human cellular consciousness. Let me say that again. Evil scientifically calculates the frequency threshold capabilities of human cellular consciousness, then uses that knowledge to deny spiritual transcendence by fostering the incapacity of the human mind to conceive of anything but, listen, a remodeling, revision, improvement, or extension of the present cellular consciousness inertia. We are being kept in one place. And most people believe that we're transcending. Oh, I just had the most wonderful spiritual experience. Well, you could stick a little needle into a caterpillar's cocoon and probably get a couple of spiritual dreams and experience, because that's what you're in. You're in a dream state at this particular time. Evil, therefore, is the deliberate modification, perpetuation, and or exogenous steering of inertial consciousness through DNA modification and mutation to stultify and therefore impede the evolutionary consciousness potential of humanity. That's evil. When somebody knows what's necessary to put you in a better state of mind about yourself, collectively as a people, and then purposefully manipulates you to their ends. But regardless of their futile attempts to circumvent cosmic inevitability, there is a cause that escapes the scrutiny of even their most powerful electron microscope. A cause that exists only within the spark of being that imperceptibly wills its own transitional existence into new confines, new envelopes, new organic agreements constructed by new spiral configurations of divine intention, not yet decoded from the present DNA programming. And you don't know what that programming is yet, because they're keeping you from it. Keeping you from accessing the program. They keep saying, well, you got junk DNA. Yeah, well, when you go into the rubble of Kemet, it looks like junk. Let me say that again, you didn't catch that. When you go into the rubble of the tombs of your ancestors and the temples of your ancestors, it looks like junk. But what was it before? And what will it be now? when the ancestors re-resurrect that knowledge for a new paradigm structure. Well, let's take it to the next level, family. Good and evil, right? You're all about good and evil. Well, we know that the Kali energies from the dark side and the light side, which is the supposed good side, doesn't exist. You're both. You are both. And what is it that they always put into the feminine principle? See, every time they show you life and death, especially when times are coming for transition, they always show you feminine energies. That's because it is only through matter that you transcend. Spirit is another form of matter. People think spirit is distinct from matter. It is not. That's why they got you. That's why they want you to stay in the hell that you are. Because there are other transitional zones, other harmonic envelopes towards the essence of spirit that you can now occupy as you transcend. This is the grossest form you have. Before it never had, before you never had intestines. There was no need for intestines. You ate, as I tell my students, from the direct menu of God. You breathed the breath of life. You started eating after the fall. You started needing to consume sunlight secondhand after the fall. You needed to participate with the Creator secondhand through the sun, which is one of the youngest, listen carefully, the youngest forms of life in existence. Let me say that again. The sun is one of the youngest forms of life in existence. Because that flame, that power you see, just synthesized from the invisible realm. And right now, there are entities alive on there that represent a specific programming for the condensation process. That is the story of how Eve was created from atom. Creation is not a spontaneous thing. It's a process of condensation. What do they tell you the sun is? They tell you the sun, as it burns off its gases, will die or go nova. Well, this is what you're on. Every one of you are part of this former sun's programming. And you lived as fire-based, light-based, etheric entities on this planet while it was a sun. And just as that sun is condensing to become an earth, sometime in the near future, because we're going to talk about time, when it becomes that, because you see, you're looking at the sun and you think it's a brown ball. Okay, here we are. We're going to get into what we call reality overlap. We're going to get into the birth of a new vibratory rate of existence. We're going to transcend the centripetal vortex of the present cellular consciousness threshold. We're going to map and escape the cube of third density. We're going to deal with the Faliverse versus the Universe, or what is called the Vastu and the Vaastu. The Faliverse and the Universe. Now, interesting. Transcending the centripetal vortex of the present cellular consciousness paradigm. The cellular vortex is toward being, especially in this envelope, because you have trained yourself in this particular form to come back. You're in a loop right now. And we're going to talk about stepping out of that loop. Life, listen, is the geometric containment of time, space, light, sound, and elemental energies. Life is the geometric containment of time, space, light, sound, and elemental energies. To escape the present confines of cellular density, we must acquire the knowledge and then perfect the science of how absolute space or pure consciousness condenses to become material form. absolute space to become conscious as material forms. Now, we all get